What's up, Taiwan? I'm Eric Gao, and thanks for joining us for the news. One person has died in an accident at a TSMC construction site in southern Taiwan. A worker was struck when a transformer box fell from the forklift that was transporting it. The man was rushed to a local hospital but died from his injuries. Work has been halted at the site in Jaya County, and labor authorities are looking into safety practices there. Taiwan's overall trade is still going strong, with both imports and exports seeing a bump in April, according to one of the country's leading economic think tanks. That's despite a gloomy outlook for some major industries. Tiffany Wong reports.
Economists at the Taiwan Institute for Economic Research say that exports went up in April, especially in the electronics and information and communications technology products. They say this is due to high demand in the AI industry.
接下来看到我们主要的商品，资通产品第一次跃居台湾外销出口的第一名。以前资通视听产品都是第二名，电子第一名。这一次资通视听38.7终于超过电子零组件。那由于 AI 伺服器的热卖，那造成了它大幅的成长，成长60%以上。目前电子零组件因为在4月份、5月份中国的关税的问题，所以让最近的销售受到一些瓶颈。不过中国已经达成和解，所以接下来也会把之前的进度给补上。
April's economic data may look contrary to the worldwide uncertainty brought by U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs announced at the beginning of April. But export performance has not lifted general sentiment among Taiwan's manufacturing, service, and construction industries. TIR saw a drop in the economic outlook for these sectors. Export orders in the first half of the year are still being filled after being placed months before, so it looks like business as usual. But what we really need to look at is the second half of the year, as Taiwan faces continued economic uncertainty and a sharp rise, appreciation in its currency. This could affect orders and profits in the second half of the year. Another wild card, whether Trump will place tariffs on semiconductors. They're currently exempt from the paused tariffs of 32% on Taiwanese goods, and major players like TSMC have already promised investments in the U.S., hoping this can help them avoid tariffs. But with one of Taiwan's biggest exports under national security investigations in the U.S., the prospects for Taiwan's economy hang in the balance.
后续要看它是怎么课税，是不是所有 device 里面有非美国制造的晶片都要课税，这个就很麻烦了。哦，这个就非常麻烦。因为美国自己做的晶片很少啊，对啊，那大部分都是台湾做的，哦，那如果是所有进口，就是就是美国进口的所有的电子装置里面的晶片都要课税，那这个问题就比较大。
Of course, Taiwan is hoping to strike a deal with the U.S. soon, but what exactly that deal looks like is still up in the air, and this is what has many businesses looking to the future with concern. Kamashri and Tiffany Wong in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan is once again hoping to attract top-tier talent from around the world, as chip designer NVIDIA plans for a new office in Taipei. The government hopes new visa reforms and incentives will turn Taiwan into a global hub for AI talent. But as Chris Gorn reports, questions remain about whether policy support alone is enough to attract the best.
A new Taipei office complex for the world's largest chip designer NVIDIA is in the works, and Taiwan's government is making a push to bring even more top-tier talent into the country, especially in AI and high-tech. The National Development Council is seeking to amend a recruitment law that would, among other things, modify special visas for highly skilled foreign workers. The new rules would expand eligibility to graduates of the world's top 200 universities and extend the length of a pilot digital nomad visa to 2 years. And the government says it's not just about one company.
这个都我们可以来协助，所以我们这些揽才的措施呢，我们是为了像辉达这样的公司不限于辉达而已。至于修法呢，修法就是让他们更容易进来，更有这个诱因愿意来台设立研发中心，或是来台投资，这个我们都是非常的欢迎的。
There would also be changes to the rules for Taiwan's Gold Card program, which grants residence and work permits for high-earning foreign nationals, to allow high earners to gain permanent residency after 1 year and grant full working rights to the spouses of visa holders. The Gold Card has been increasing in popularity since it was launched in 2018, seeing a big jump after the COVID-19 pandemic, with over 13,000 now issued. with the largest share of gold card holders coming from the US and Hong Kong. But while the policies target highly skilled workers, some talent recruitment specialists in Taiwan say that the workforce requirements for some companies might not be at the higher end.
They're not necessarily looking to pay top salaries, especially if these workers don't necessarily have very comprehensive Chinese skills or are kind of attuned to the Taiwanese work culture.
Recruiters also say that small to medium-sized businesses need help with their internal processes.
A company like NVIDIA, they don't have HR problems when it comes to hiring international talent, right? From an internal logistical process, they don't have that challenge, but there are hundreds or maybe thousands of companies that do. Much of the time it's simply saying, we don't understand this process. We don't know how to do this. And, I think the government can help set these companies up to win.
Whether a single office project alone can solve Taiwan's troubles with attracting and retaining talent remains uncertain. But officials hope the new reforms will help Taiwan compete and ultimately win in the global race for the AI industry. Justin Wu and Chris Gorin for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan Centers for Disease Control is urging people to get vaccinated amid a surge of respiratory infections. COVID cases in particular are on the rise, and that's leaving doctors' offices packed and COVID tests in short supply. John Van Trieste reports.
A bump in COVID, flu, and para-influenza has clinics like this busy. Many of those here today are concerned parents. Schools make great breeding grounds for respiratory bugs.
小朋友他去上课嘛，其实都会交叉感染啊。其实他像他的状况，他已经就是持续咳嗽、流鼻水1个礼拜。虽然说现在疫情不会到严重到重症，但是其实也是会影响到他。
因为他们学校也很多人不舒服，咳嗽、流鼻涕、感冒。那趁假日的时候，赶快大家来看。
Doctors say an uptick in COVID is especially pronounced. The most recent week with figures, May 11th to 17th, saw around 19,000 new confirmed cases. Variants are getting better at spreading and avoiding immune systems. Meanwhile, immunity in the population is down.
这些病毒加起来的话，就造成交互感染啊。现在呼吸道病患，我觉得应该3、4成、4、5成，几乎都是新冠。
But just how fast COVID is spreading is hard to gauge.
有没有快筛？快筛目前都要等到6月中以后才。6月中哦。
Even those who want to test themselves for COVID have found pharmacies across the country are out of test kits. The Centers for Disease Control held a meeting with manufacturers last week to try and secure the supply chain, but results may take time.
目前厂商那边都没有什么库存，因为这一段时间空下来了哈，只能观望，因为不确定性太高了，所以目前我们手上也没有什么存货。
For now, the uptick doesn't look as bad as a spike that hit roughly the same time in 2024, at least not yet. But the CDC is encouraging people to get vaccinated in the hopes the uptick in cases stays under control. Luffy Lee and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
At least 20 people have been killed in an Israeli strike on a school housing displaced people in Gaza. Medics say the majority of the casualties were women and children.
في داخل هذه المدرسة يعني مناظر الأطفال كما تحدثت لا يوصف، مناظر النساء لا يوصف نهائيا. تم تفحم الجثث بشكل كامل في هذه المدرسة.
Israel has continued to bombard Gaza despite international pressure to pull back. Hundreds of people have been killed in the past week, according to Palestinian health authorities, bringing the total death toll in Gaza to over 61,000. Israel has taken control of around 77% of Gaza and is pushing forward with plans to seize the entire territory, home to 2.3 million Palestinians. Russia has carried out its largest aerial attack on Ukraine since the war began. It comes as the two sides exchanged hundreds of prisoners, and it's raising new concerns about where the war is heading. Chelsea Wu reports.
Explosions rock the Ukrainian capital Kyiv, destroying apartment blocks and reducing city blocks to rubble. Russian forces fired 367 drones and missiles across the country overnight on Sunday, leaving 12 dead and dozens more injured. It's the largest aerial assault since Russia began its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022.
We woke up from the sound of an explosion. I immediately grabbed my child, who's 20 months old. I covered it in a blanket and protected it. Then there was another explosion and a huge flash. I heard how everything was turned upside down. And then there was this noise stuck in my head and ears.
Just hours after the attack, Russia and Ukraine both say they released more than 300 imprisoned soldiers, part of a major exchange that began on Friday. Altogether, 1,000 people were freed, the largest number since the start of the war. While it marks a rare moment of cooperation between the two countries, it's not slowed down the fighting, which continues along the roughly 1,000-kilometer front line, as deep strikes on both sides kill tens of thousands of troops.
На все це потрібна реакція. Жорстка реакція Сполучених Штатів Америки. Реакція Європи. Реакція всіх світів, хто хоче завершення війни. Путін відмовився від припинення вогню вже неодноразово. Це нічого йому не дає, крім того, що кожного дня він забирає життя.
Ukraine and its allies have been urging Moscow to agree to a 30-day ceasefire as a first step towards ending the three-year war. But their efforts suffered a blow after U.S. President Donald Trump refused to impose new sanctions on Moscow for rejecting an immediate truce pushed by Kyiv.
Yeah, I'll give you an update. I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him, but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all, okay?
Though Trump raising the possibility of imposing more sanctions in response to Russia's most recent attack, both sides remain in a deadly stalemate, with diplomacy stalling and Ukraine's defenses stretched thin. Hopes for an end to the war may still be far off. Leon Lian and Chelsea Wu for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwanese table tennis duo Ling Yuru and Gao Cheng-rui have clinched a silver medal in the men's doubles at the World Table Tennis Championships finals in Doha. They lost a hard-fought final to Japan's world number 2 duo Togami Shinsuke and Shinozuka Hiroto, falling by 3-2 in the title match on Sunday. This marks the first time that Taiwan has claimed silver in the men's doubles at this event. A diving group off Orchid Island has come across a special surprise, an endangered whale shark. These giants of the sea were once overfished, making their appearance these days a rare treat. John Van Trieste has this story too.
The members of a diving expedition off of eastern Taiwan on Saturday were expecting fantastic views, but nothing quite as spectacular as what they ended up seeing. At 14 meters below the surface, not far from Orchid Island, a rare lumbering beast of the deep approached. The whale shark is among the world's largest fish, but years of overfishing have greatly reduced their numbers, leading to them receiving legal protections in Taiwan and around the world. The appearance of such an unusual creature was a big surprise.
它本来是要游走的，看到气泡它又再游回来啊，它又在靠近我们这边。然后因为它可能本身比较喜欢玩气泡吧，所以它本身它又靠过来。
Some marine life researchers say it's not a total surprise the whale shark showed up in that area at this time of year, when the water warms up and food is plentiful.
它出现的地方的话，应该是这个浮游动物它出现的一个地方，所以就是说它可能是摄食的这样的一个行为，所以可能最近就会常出现，就是说看到鲸鲨这样。
But they say the chances of seeing a whale shark are still relatively slim. So for the 10 or so minutes the 4-meter whale shark played in the bubbles from the divers' oxygen tanks, the group's members had a privileged spectacle indeed. Fu Huahong and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
And thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Follow us on social media to get the latest updates from us in your feed. Finally, we take you to the Cleveland Museum of Art to view the latest exhibit by Japanese artist Takashi Murakami. I'm Eric Al. Take care. We'll see you next time.